Hi, Professor Wickline, Allison Swanson again, here to just show you Connect and Connect Plus that can come with your Sandtrack textbook that you're looking at. I'm not quite sure if you have used Connect Plus in the past or not, so forgive me if you have and you are very familiar. I just don't remember ever hearing anything from you about Connect, so I thought maybe you know about it, maybe you didn't, but either way, this is just a quick run through of what you and your students can get with Connect. So if you go back to my create version of the book where my create YouTube video, I went back and I added the access at the very end and it made the price go up a little bit. But this can be a standalone product. You don't even need to have a textbook because the whole text is in here too. There are many different assignment types inside of Connect that you can use for this course, but I'm going to really just show you one today. What I'm going to show you the most, and the one thing that most of my instructors do use, is called Smartbook. Smartbook is an adaptive and personalized way for your students to study every single piece of the chapter. So I just want you to imagine for a second, instead of in your syllabus it said read chapters 1 through 3, basically what you would say is do Smartbook inside Connect chapters 1, 2, 3. It's an assignment. Actually, the reading becomes interactive, dynamic, and it's an assignment type for them. And I will show you how this works. So if I just go into like chapter 3 here, I just gave you this preloaded sample course so you can see these other assignment types too. There's some really cool stuff in here, but I only have time in my video to show you one thing probably. So anytime you see an LS here, that is the same thing as Smartbook. Basically, LearnSmart was the engine that runs Smartbook. Eventually, we're going to change the branding to say Smartbook, but that's pretty much all I saw right now. And so that we have the best view possible, up here in the corner, I'm going to click Student View. I'm going to go to Chapter 3 again, and I'm going to click on LearnSmart, or Smartbook. See it pops up here as Smartbook. They're the same thing. LearnSmart, Smartbook, same thing. Eventually, we're going to change all of the icons to look like SB. So since I've already been in this chapter, I'm going to have a little bit of progress. You'll see I have 5% of progress, and that's because I was playing with this earlier. But the way I want to show you exactly how it's set up for the students. So Smartbook is broken up into 4 phases. It's preview the chapter, read the chapter, and practice the chapter. Then students are able to recharge their knowledge. The way that this works is we basically had developmental reading instructors help us build this. They said the students that do the best at retaining knowledge and reading textbooks kind of do it in this way. So in preview, students don't have to do anything here. It's basically just an overview of what they're going to encounter in the chapter, just so they can see that. In the read phase, students actually have the book exactly how it's set up for you, but you'll notice there are some differences here. Actually, let's do like a 2-page spread here. They can also change the spread. You'll see that there are some things that are highlighted in here. So you might be wondering, where do these highlights come from? These highlights come from a few places. They come from Sandtrack and his team. We basically went to Sandtrack and we said, hey, if your best student highlighted the textbook, what pieces would they highlight? And these are connected to the learning objectives in every single chapter. So your average student will probably just spend time reading these highlights, but that's just giving them a place to start. You'll also notice there are some things that are dimmed out. These things can be undimmed at any time just by the student clicking on it, but it's just saying focus here first. As your student goes through, they're reading the highlights, and this can spread around a little bit. They can shift this however they want to be able to see. And when the student is ready, they can practice what they've already learned. This is where the system becomes truly personalized to the student. And this is where the student will start to get progress in their assignment. So it asks the student a question about what they've read. She isn't only just going to try to answer the question, but she has to answer how well does she know it. She can click, I know it, I think so, I'm unsure, or I have no idea. By clicking one of these buttons, the system is taking into account, is she guessing? Do we need to come back at her in a different way? Or she can always click read about this and it will pair that question exactly to the place in the textbook that it is. So these come up in a lot of different ways. See, that one I just missed it, but it'll tell me the right answer. Okay. There are multiple choice questions. There are fill in the blanks. There are there are matching questions. They can come at the student in a lot of different ways, but it needs to get to know the student first. And it is figuring out if a student is lying or they really understand it or they don't. But it's not going to give up on the student. Let's say the student is really struggling in this material. It will throw them an easier question just to keep them engaged in the system. But if they're really struggling, they will not gain progress. The idea is that your students will get to the part where they're getting to know what they know and know what they don't know, clicking I know it, and then clicking the correct answer. And at that point, they're going to see their progress really, really skyrocket. So the idea is that all of your students would come to class with 100% of this knowledge from the textbook, so that way you can expand on these concepts and get into more detail with them, or use some other outside examples, help them connect it to their own lives, whatever it is that you would like to be doing in class, instead of just maybe going over what they should have read in the textbook. What else is really cool about Smartbook, and I'm going to go back to Connect, I'm going to be you as the instructor. Students can get reports about their own learning. So they can get reports about what they struggle with in every chapter, but for you can get a report about the aggregate, like an aggregate report about your class. We're going to go into the Learn Smart reports, and I'm just going to pull up a sample. So let's say you're going to lecture on chapter 2, and students have already done their Smartbook assignments for chapter 2. Before class, you can quickly pull up a report for chapter 2 and see, how did the students do? Oops, that was metacognitive skills. You pick up their most challenging learning objectives, and let's go back to chapter 2 and just see. We're going to go into chapter 2, biological beginnings, and these are the 5 things that they struggled with. So if I were an instructor, maybe I would say, okay, well, maybe I'll show a video about some of these concepts, or maybe I'll know to do a quick review on these 5 things, because this is an informed way for you to know, without your students coming to your office hours or raising their hands in class, hey, I need help with this. So Smartbook is something that's really helping, it's helping instructors everywhere. So in the preliminary tests that we've done, students on average have increased their grades an entire letter grade. So more students that are getting B's are now getting A's. More students with C's are getting B's. And this has been something that I sell almost entirely to every single, I almost never leave campus without talking about Create and Smartbook. So I hope this is something that is of interest to you. If it is, or you want deeper training, deeper knowledge, whatever I can do to help you, please let me know. But I think it's really advantageous. It would be advantageous for me to show you this, just because it is probably the coolest thing we have. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.